Larry, welcome. I've been doing a few of these podcasts with people in the insurance industry. I haven't had the pleasure of interviewing anybody outside of the industry. And even though you and I chat fairly often, it's the first time I'll be doing an interview with you. So I'm super excited and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
I obviously wanted to chat to you for a couple of reasons, but primarily just to kind of get some insight into what you've been doing to stay alive during lockdown, financially, that is, and how you've managed to sort of pivot your business and maybe even coming out of it with more success than you may have had before lockdown. But before we get into that, you said you want to start off by showing me something.
Yeah, I can definitely show you something. So just so everybody knows at home, I'm a mentalist. I read minds. I predict the future. I bend metal. I do weird and wonderful things. You're going to get to experience some of that right now, Simon. But just so everybody knows that I'm not a psychic or a witch doctor or anything like that. I'm an entertainer, and I do what's called mentalism, which is basically magic of the mind. So I do this at a lot of corporate events and private parties. And in fact, Simon and I were together in an Insure Talk event just the other day, and he wanted to know if I could do something unique that he hasn't seen before. So today we're going to try something that I've never done before, and it's going to happen across the screen. So I don't know, do you have a pack of cards with you?
I do.
Okay, cool. And then tell me, Simon, is that pack, is it like totally shuffled? Is it like in an order that's not even you know or anybody else
Yeah,
could know?
no, it's definitely shuffled.
Okay. Okay, cool. Perfect. So, are you able to, or maybe you could hold the cards in your hand like this so everybody could see, so you wouldn't have to show them the table. Great.
Okay.
And maybe just hold it so I can see the short end over here, and you can hold it
Ah,
in your hand so it doesn't fall out. That's great. And you can keep your hand closed around it so it doesn't fall out of your hand. That's good. All right.
okay.
So right now, this pack is in an order that you have no idea where any card
Yeah,
would be, right?
I can kind of show you it's completely randomly mixed up. From the last time I played cards, it's completely mixed.
Yes, and you know that every pack of cards is mixed in such a way that the likelihood of that order reoccurring again is, I don't know, it's more than 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. It's like the odds are very, very rare that a pack of cards will be mixed in the same way again ever, because of the different suits and the different numbers and the amount of cards in the pack, right?
Right.
So we're going to try something that's really crazy here. I want you to think of a number from 1 to 52 right now. And you can say that?
Must I say it out loud?
Mm-hmm.
13.
Okay. And so we got a number, we got 13, and then we need to get a card. So I want you to think of a card. And don't tell me what that card is, but then once you got a card, change your mind and let me know when you've done that.
Okay.
Good. And then change your mind again.
Okay.
And this time, I want you to kind of have a intuitive sense come into you, like a almost like some sort of spiritual feeling, if you want to call it that, and just allow the next card that comes into it, just allow it to kind of enter into your mind, and then I want you to commit to that card.
Okay.
Okay,
I
good.
feel it.
Okay, good. So
Feeling good
now,
about this card, Larry.
say again.
I'm feeling good about this card.
Oh, good, good. Okay, so you got a random card right now. I didn't tell you what to think of. You have nothing's been prearranged or anything like that. This is totally
Okay.
random. Okay, great. So I
Yeah.
want you to count down 13 cards. And
From the top.
Simon, before we count down 13 cards, just by the way, yeah, from the top, we're going to do it from the top. What is the card that you ended up choosing in your mind?
The 4 of clubs.
The 4 of clubs. Okay. So you're going to count down 13 cards. Let everybody see the pack. So you'll take one off the top and show us all. 1. And then you said 13, right?
Yeah.
2, that's the 4 of spades.
Ooh, I thought that was going to be it.
Yes. 3, 4, 5. No 4 of clubs just yet. 6, 7, 8, or 5 of clubs.
Ooh.
9, 10, 11, oh, 12. Now stop right there. If that's the 4 of clubs, like,
Then
this would be
all
crazy,
hell is
right?
going to break loose.
Have
Yeah,
a look
this is
for
going to be
yourself.
crazy.
Show everybody. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing, man. But how?
So crazy, right?
I know how you did this. You snuck into my place about 3 weeks ago, planted this pack of cards, and it's filled with 4s of clubs, as you can see. Well done, Larry.
Thanks,
Uh,
man.
I mean,
I mean, that's
I
pretty
think
crazy. You did that.
it's totally crazy. I mean, you and I have known each other for a little while now, and I'm constantly amazed. You know, people go, "Well, you're hanging out with Larry. You must know how these things are done." And I have no clue. And to be honest, I don't really want to know, because I think that's something special about what you do. You know, it's kind of like it's like watching a film that's been created especially for the viewer. You know,
Yes,
something totally unique. And yeah, it's amazing. I'm constantly amazed at how something as kind of ordinary as a pack of cards, and you're not even here, can become such an amazing tool for entertainment.
totally. And
And
even across the net, even
yeah,
across it all like
absolutely.
this.
So on that note, I mean, can we chat a little bit about your business? I mean, how long have you been performing?
I've been doing this since I was about 4 or 5 years old. I've been working since the age of 13, where I started doing kid shows. Um, and I was doing kids magic when I was very young, and that's the way I earned my income, to be able to purchase more magic, to be able to learn more, and to be able to purchase anything that I really needed in life, you know. And
Yeah.
and then I started
This is
building
your
up.
full-time job.
Yeah, this is my full-time job. I did my first corporate event at the age of 16. It was for a company
Wow.
named Prestige Cleaning Services
All right. Yeah.
at the age of
Wow, that's
16.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and that was about 21, almost 22 years ago.
Wow. So you built up this career. I mean, I know you were doing a lot of corporate events, certainly building up to March this year. And I know when we've spoken, I know, for instance, if we've tried to get together for a dinner or something, we often have to book it, you know, months in advance, because your diary is quite hectic. And I also travel between Cape Town and Joburg, but generally you're working most days, and often not in Cape Town where you live. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. I travel around the world doing this for major corporations and private events. So I've performed for people like Jay-Z, Beyonce, for Mike
Wow,
Rutherford from Mike and the Mechanics. Performed 10 times for the Prince of Saudi Arabia, and I've done many big corporates like yours,
sure.
and many others in different arenas, from car companies to cell phone companies, all sorts, and all over the world.
It's amazing. I mean, when I was a child, I also was very interested in magic, but I'm not sure who it was. Probably someone in my family was like, you know, you you're not going to make any money doing this. You know, you really need to kind of focus on a more sort of traditional way of generating income. And then when I met you, I was obviously like, well, this guy actually carried on with it and has made a success of it. Is there a big market for mentalism in South Africa?
Well, I think as a mentalist, it's really cool because it's a kind of a niche market. There's only really 3 of us in South Africa. Something that I've had to get people to understand, that this is not kids' magic. It's not rabbit out
Mm,
of a hat kind of stuff. This is the
mm,
serious, intense stuff where I read minds and I predict what you're going to think of before you think it. And it's adult entertainment, and it
mm.
makes you feel like a child again. It makes you feel
Yeah,
inspired and makes you
adult
believe that anything's possible.
adult entertainment where you can actually keep your clothes on.
Exactly. I mean, I do have a poll, but
Yeah, no, that's it's amazing, Larry. So there you are. You're earning a good living. I mean, how many shows did you perform last year?
um,
Corporate shows.
it was approximately 140 shows last year.
Okay, so it's 140 shows. So you're like performing basically every third day, really. And then we get to March 2020, and how many shows did you have after that, face to face?
Well, I can tell you that our inquiries in March dropped to about 7 inquiries,
What do
and
you normally get in terms of inquiries?
normally about you could say on average of 30 inquiries a month, and
Wow.
somewhere between 20 and 40 is the range. It can go up to a really high month where we have 50 something inquiries, but that's the average range, you know. And yeah, it was quite something because all of our bookings either got cancelled or postponed. And
Mm.
and then in April, I decided that I had to pick these inquiries up because obviously the more inquiries we get, the more work we'll get, right? So I created an online show, and then I decided to try out that online show for friends and family. Invited everybody over to come and have a look, obviously on Zoom. Did the online show. It was greatly successful. I then had, I think, 2 days later, well, the next day I had my first paid gig. So I
Sorry,
did.
before you carry on, Larry, was it a big adjustment to going from, I mean, you perform on stage normally at corporate functions in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people. Was this very different for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a different situation because I had to get used to the technology and how the technology worked. So that
Mm.
was
But
really,
what about I'm interested in the sort of energy.
yeah.
I do some presentations, public speaking, and I'm heavily reliant on the sort of energy from the audience. But this platform, this format doesn't really give you any of that. Was that a challenge for you?
It was at the beginning, and that's one of the things that we had to get used to in regard to the tech side of things,
Mm,
um, because with Zoom or with any of these other virtual platforms, if you have too many screens and they're unmuted at the same time, you get this feedback. So you have to mute everybody. So everybody's now
mm.
muted, and you're getting no feedback from the audience. So there's a few things that I came up
It's
with.
like performing alone, just like crickets chirping in the background.
Exactly, and it felt a little bit awkward and uncomfortable, except for the person that I was dealing with in particular, where I was reading that person's mind and so on, right? I thought, well, how am I going to overcome this? So, first of all, I have to have maybe applause, I have to have laughter in the background, and I also have to do it in such a way that the audience can really enjoy this. So, the way that I came up with is that I realized on the webinar of Zoom, on a Zoom webinar, you can have everybody as attendees. You can then welcome them in as panelists. And then let's say
Mm,
I have 3 people on the screen, including myself. That's a nice big screen where you get to see what I do and you get to
mm,
see everybody else's reaction. So it's just 3 other
mm,
people and myself. You get to see their enjoyment. You get to see the impossible happening. And they get to keep themselves unmuted, which is great. So you get to have the vibe
mm,
at the same time, you know?
mm. Yeah, you're right. Because I've obviously have been in lockdown just like everybody else. So, I've watched a few musical performances online, and it's really, I have to say, when you're watching somebody perform, but there's no engagement, it and the quality is not as good as if you were watching a movie. So if the engagement isn't there and it's not movie quality, then it feels like you're just watching a badly filmed production, and it's difficult to stay engaged. So I think what certainly the shows that are where you've performed at Insure Talk, that audience engagement is absolutely critical, because it doesn't feel like it's recorded. Firstly, it's a live performance, and it also feels like anything could happen. It's not
Yeah,
scripted. Someone could, well, whatever you're doing might not work. First of all, I mean, that could always happen. Some people have a tendency not to follow instructions as well, which I think is also a challenge. But that engagement really just, it really works. And the times I've watched you perform, it's, the time has gone by so quickly. Whereas when I'm watching sort of this one-dimensional or two-dimensional show, with no engagement, the time really sort of drags. So
totally.
yeah, kudos to you for figuring that out. And so you
Thank
you
you.
published something a few days ago, on Facebook, where you just shared a little bit of this story. How you kind of had to pivot your business, and be successful at it. And you shared with me that June, was looking like it was going to be one of your best June months ever. And I was blown away by that, because I mean, you hadn't really had this kind of, you weren't performing like this prior to lockdown.
But I mean, I just want to let everybody know that, I mean, I didn't really get to complete my thought on the idea that at the beginning, when the inquiries dropped to 7 inquiries, I knew that I had to pick those inquiries up. But what I did was within 3 months, I literally, wow. Anyway, I don't even know how many X I X'd it, but from 7 inquiries to 45 inquiries last month. And in
Wow,
July, we're literally almost doubling our best July ever.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well
really,
done.
and that's best July ever, not during this time, it's not
Yeah,
even
yeah,
regarding this
yeah,
time. So
of all time.
yeah, of all time. And I do believe that no matter what situation you're in, it doesn't, your situation doesn't depend on the environment around you. It depends on your actions. How solution orientated can you be? And I believe that we can all be solution orientated to create the goals that we're wanting to create,
Mm,
and that's why I'm actually telling my story, is because I believe as an entertainer, with all entertainment being stopped until the end of lockdown, I took on this medium, this virtual medium, and I was able to do these shows across the virtual medium, and able to gain positive attention, that it's become such a great success. And I believe that anybody can make a success in their life, no matter what situation they're in. They just have to be willing to solve the problems that come their way, and then they got to be willing to put in the work. I mean, there's been some days where I've been working from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, nonstop. Yeah, it just takes that kind of dedication and that passion to create the life that you want. And
yeah,
I hope,
you can't sit around and just sort of hope things are going to fall into your lap, especially in a crisis. So what do you think's going to happen when the stage shows and everything start again? Are you gonna keep doing this?
yeah, I think it's definitely something. There'll be a hybrid of events. Some people will want to do virtual shows, and some people will want to do physical shows, and some other companies or people would maybe want to do a mixture, depending on
Mm,
the people that they're inviting over to the show. Maybe some people don't feel comfortable to come to the show, so they'll stay at home, and then there will be some sort of a hybrid of events. So it will be a variety of mixtures, for sure, a variety of uh,
yeah,
of
different
mixture, if you want
formats.
to, of format,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that, exactly. And yeah, so I'm definitely prepared for both. My virtual show is very, very different to my stage show. In fact, when I built my virtual show, it was based off my stage show, and then a little while later I realized that it's completely different. and
Mm,
um, and yeah, it was actually very exciting to build, but at the same time, and to create. But at the same time, it was extremely stressful because of getting used to this virtual platform, getting used to all the technical side of things. How do I make it look professional with a logo over here? And how do I make it look smooth
mm,
and seamless? When I want to play
mm.
a
Lighting.
promotional video,
Yeah.
and how does the lighting work, and how does this technology actually work, and how can I operate the technology in the background while I'm communicating to everybody on the screen over here, you know?
mm,
And so
mm,
there was a whole lot of things that I had to get used to, but it started off by just starting. And I think that's a
yeah,
really important point for everybody to realize, is that you have to, whatever you want to do in life, whether it's in an easy time or a moderately difficult time or difficult time like this, you have to just start. Because the moment that you start, you will start to make some mistakes, but from those mistakes you can create solutions, and you can make sure that they never happen again. And
mm,
that way, by making these incremental steps toward your goal, if you can make those incremental steps in a short enough period of time, if you can do enough within a short enough period, you'll be
mm,
leaps and bounds ahead of your competition who didn't even start. So it's really important to
yeah.
start and to create solutions along the way. And yeah, and it also forces you to sink or swim. And I think most people are survivors. That's why we're all here, right?
Yeah. Did you, I mean, I know you're generally a very positive person, you know, you do give off a positive energy. But
Thank you.
was there a moment, honestly, was there a moment since March when you went, oh shit, you know, like I'm going to be flipping burgers by the end of the week? Or I mean, did you really, was there a moment where you were worried, Larry, that you thought you might not pull this off?
There was a slight concern at the beginning,
Yeah.
and the reason why
Okay.
it was only slight is because I believe that it's really important to be prepared for any circumstance. And thank goodness, I mean, I work with my wife. She's my manager, and she's also my wife. I don't tell everybody that, but now whoever's
Mm.
listening to this will know that. So yeah, she's my manager and my wife, so she tells me what to do all the time. And
I relate.
yeah, yeah, and no, but honestly, we make such a great team together, and we have a lot of
Mm,
fun. And I really enjoyed, because she's a great leader in the administrative aspects of things, and I'm a leader from the productive side of things, with me
mm,
producing my show,
mm,
and being able to push out many shows at any
mm.
given time, you know, and create that energy. So we both make such a great team together. I hope that makes sense. Um,
It does.
yeah, yeah, and the reason why I'm saying that is because we actually put ourselves into such a position that we knew that we would be able to withstand a few months of lockdown, but we knew that we didn't
So
want to.
you had a safety net that you prepped.
Exactly, and we didn't want to take full advantage of that safety net. So we obviously wanted to push, because we would love to grow in this time. Because if we're growing in this time, I believe that we will grow exponentially when things go back to somewhat of a normal, you know.
Mm,
And so that's the outlook that we took. That's the viewpoint that we took,
mm,
and that's what we started doing. So we started pushing out the show. The third show that I did was for events coordinators and for agents, and then I started calling corporates, other events coordinators that weren't able to make it to that particular show, and all the clients that we've dealt with in the past many years. I started making calls to them, giving them demonstrations of what I do, and they loved it so much that they were inspired to have something that that spices up their meeting. Because one of the
mm.
clients that I spoke to the other day, they said, you know, these kinds of meetings can be really boring. And I assume even on Zoom, because you're just watching a screen, like you say, it's just two
Yeah.
dimensional. There's no interaction. It's just a briefing that you're getting, you know,
Mm,
and now you're having to chat on a
mm.
computer, and it's almost like you're stuck in front of your computer the entire time. So this has to be some sort of a, there has to be
It's
an
an
extra
escape.
dimension. There has to be an extra
Yeah.
dimension to this. And that's why I thought it's really important to make a fully interactive show, and also to make certain parts of the show uh, something that everybody can experience. So there are parts of my show where everybody gets to experience the impossible happening in their home at the same time.
Yeah. It's really incredible. I think that, I mean, when I think about how you've in what seems to be a relatively short space of time, how you kind of took what you were doing, because I know not everything you were doing on stage is possible um, in this small box, but you've come up with some material in your performance that you weren't doing before. So it's not like someone could say, oh, well, he was already doing this. He just started filming it instead. You've got things that you've developed specifically for this format. So I guess, if somebody was watching this and going, well, I need to sort of pivot my business, as people call it. It's not just a case of kind of adapting to the new format. You have to make some dramatic changes as well, I see.
Exactly. And also, I just want to let everybody know, just if you're in a situation where you haven't prepared before lockdown, now is the time to start preparing. And now is the time to start reaching out. It will take, maybe it will be a little bit harder, maybe depending on your circumstance. But I do believe that we all have resources from which we can pull on, that we can reach to those resources, and we can work together, and we can collaborate, and we can do something for another person to help that person.
Yeah, I think, I'm really looking forward to you doing a show for my company next week. And is it next week, the week after?
Yeah.
And I know everybody's really looking forward to that. In fact, we've had about 800 bookings now
Wow.
for that event. Yeah, which is a multiple of what we've had for previous events. So
That's amazing.
I think, yeah, it's incredible. And what you said earlier, about people kind of being stuck in front of their computers and wanting to spice things up. Yeah, that really does describe it well, because I can tell you, for me and most of my colleagues, we get up in the morning, we start work earlier than we used to because we don't have to drive to the office. So, it's a short trip, in my case, downstairs and into my office. And then before I know it, I've been sitting at my computer for 6-7 hours. I've gone from one meeting into the next with no gaps, because normally in the real world, or the old world, if we can call it that, I would have time in the car or in an Uber, or even if I was in the building in Joburg, I'd have time where I'm walking from one meeting room to the other.
Mm.
But when you're doing these virtual conferences, virtual meetings, you literally hang up the call and you start the next one. You've not left. I'm still here, but I'm talking to a whole bunch of different people, and so you just associate this computer, this screen, with work, and then to really have somebody else just popping up on the screen and saying, I want to show you something incredible right now, really just kind of breaks it up again and makes it feel like there's engagement. Because the other thing you might not realize, Larry, is that in a lot of corporates now, because so many meetings are taking place, they can't handle the bandwidth drain. So
Wow.
they're encouraging people to turn off the video.
Okay.
So what you're landing up with really is a telephone conversation taking place on a computer. And that's also just, an extra kind of barrier that feels like it's between you and the other people in the meeting. So this
Yeah.
kind of engagement is really it's needed, I think, in this difficult time that we
Totally.
found ourselves. Yeah, Larry, I mean, that just about wraps it up. Do you have anything else you'd like to discuss, or maybe a little something you want to show us?
Yeah, let's try something else with you. I see you have some books on your bookshelf over there.
I do.
Great. I want
Should
you
I?
to I want you to think of one book that you're going to grab, right, that you would like to reach for initially, and then change your mind to another book. And then, you know what? Change your mind again, so you didn't even know what book you're going to go for.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
go for it. So you
Shall
can
I
grab
get
the
it?
book. Yeah, you can grab it.
Okay. I've got.
So
I
this
have
was
it.
your third choice now, right?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
cool. So please excuse me for not looking directly into the camera. I'm going to look down at your screen because I'm going to help you.
Okay.
You're going to choose a random page just so everybody knows. Oh, wow, is that Stephen King? It looks like, yes, Stephen King. Dr. Sleep. Wow. Okay. And how many
Yeah.
pages in that book?
Um, there are just 500, actually, 500 pages.
Okay, cool. So turn to a random page. And you can
Okay.
change your mind as many times as you like to whichever page you want to turn to. And then show me that page. Just turn it toward the screen so I can see the words. A little bit closer. Okay. So, okay, we see Dr. Sleep over there. And AA, we won't go for something so simple like that. And we won't go for the big writing like created suddenly. So just bring it a little bit closer. Okay, so I'm going to mention some words over here. And as I mention them, you're going to remember one, okay, one of those words. So
Okay.
how about, yeah, that's good. Personality, trampolines, that's good. Impersonal. Can you turn the page to another one? Yes. Any other random one? Okay, then a little bit closer. That's good. Okay. Wow. Okay. Salesperson. Okay. Respiration. Expression. Disprove. Turn to another few pages down. Okay. All right. Maybe turn to another page that's got more writing on it. Great. So we got like 2 pages filled with writing. I don't know. Something like expression.
Okay.
Respectively, operates, speaking. Yeah, that's a good one. Important. And then finally, let's shoot a little bit higher, a little bit higher. If you could lift a little bit higher, that's good. That's good. Distance. So I'm assuming you have a word right now, one of the words that I've mentioned, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So just look at me, and I'm just going to look at you on the screen just to try and get this connection, and just put your hand toward the screen. You could have picked up any book, you could have picked any page, and we could
Yeah.
have, that way all the words would have been totally different, and you thought of one of those random words, right? And in fact,
Yeah.
you changed your mind on the books right at the beginning too, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So pull your hand a little bit further back, a little bit further back. That's good. All right, that's good. Okay, immediately, immediately I'm getting a P in your word. Is that right?
Yes.
Then an E also?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. Just keep going through the different letters of your word, and I'm going to try and pick them up as they're flashing through your mind. I'm getting an R over there. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just keep looking at me. Just keep looking at me. Very good. And an S
Yes.
and an O.
Yes.
Very good. Just keep thinking an N.
Did you say N or M?
N for Nelly.
Yes.
Okay, good. Is an A
Yes.
and an L.
Yeah. Just tell me the word already, man.
Okay,
You're
and I'm
like
also,
nailing all of these things.
okay, very, very good. I'm getting the different words. Is that an I
Yes.
and a T
Yes.
and a Y, right?
Yes.
In fact, I spelled
That's
it out
amazing.
100% correct. I don't know if you guys got
You
that,
did.
but
Yeah.
that's personality, right?
Personality. Yes. Wow, man, that is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Can I put my hand down
You can lower your hand. That's cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I think Stephen King would have been proud. We'll
Thanks.
tag him. We'll tag him in this post.
Great. I like that idea. I like it.
Yeah. No, no, insane, insane. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Simon. I'm glad you
Wow.
liked it. It was such an honor being here. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, it's been great chatting to you, Larry, and yeah, really looking forward to catching up with you when we do our conference later this month. And yeah, I wish you all the best. I hope the success carries on, and I hope that you take this to the next level. And yeah, I think you will have inspired some people out there that are really, you know, a little scared and afraid of what they're going to be doing, what their future is going to look like. So yeah, strong messages from you, and you've actually done it. You know, it's not like you're just sharing some bullshit that people can't implement. You actually have done it and you're doing it. So
Totally. Well,
well
thank
done,
you.
and yeah, thanks for entertaining us too.
My great pleasure. Thanks, Simon.